Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm I'm speaking to you from London, from actually Tottenham. Now, I want to talk briefly about the murder of Mark Duggan and a number of related issues, including something which recently happened to me. Now, after Mark Duggan was murdered in Tottenham by the British police, there were several other murders of people who unfortunately got tangled up with the British law. One was John Charles de Menezes. He was murdered by the police at Stockwell Tube Station. In fact, when we say he was murdered by the police, we can't be sure they were police. None of this is actually clear that it was the police. It was probably a military organisation. This was shortly after the de Menezes murder, was shortly after the outrages at the tube stations in Holborn and so on by Al Qaeda. Now, after that, a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, there was another murder in Sheffield, or that way. I mean, it's a bit of a long way away from Tottenham, but of a man called Yasser Yaqub. Now, he was also stopped, like Mark Duggan, in what was called a hard stop. Now, I did a sort of broadcast about that, which you can find if you look on YouTube. Look at YouTube, William Spring, and then look up Mark Duggan and Yasser Yaqub, and you'll find the programme. The problem is this: the squadron, or the squad that's been busy in Tottenham, and in the case of Yasser Yaqub in Burnley or wherever, was called CO19. Now, let me just say, Tottenham was an extremely happy district. Crime was virtually non-existent. I know people may think this is a bit ridiculous, but that was a fact. It was my aunt, Nell, was born in Tottenham and brought up a family in Tottenham. It is a very good area. And then, with the killing of Mark Duggan, you get the importation of the CO19 squad. When the CO19 squad turned up, Tottenham went into a nosedive, and because they killed Mark Duggan quite unlawfully, in my opinion. How the British police and judiciary managed to square that with their conscience, that a young man can just be yanked out of a car and shot dead, and that's perfectly lawful according to the British judiciary. Well, I don't know. But anyway, after his death by this anonymous V53, there was a whole load of rioting in Tottenham, as you know, which caused a lot of damage, and nobody was ever made responsible for it. Now, because of this background, I've always had a bit of a concern about the police. However, at the basic issue is, if the police are trying to protect the public, you back them up. And in my naivety, I thought that would happen with me. At the end of January 2017, I came home and I found a text had been sent to me on my phone, which was in fact a obscene text showing a child being molested. Now, I get some things I get a bit worked up about, and one of them is paedophilia. I don't like paedophilia as a concept. And I didn't think I could do anything other than just call the police, which I did. The police turned up at about 2 o'clock in the morning. They took a statement off me, and I made the statement. I said to them, I hope you get this, whoever's done this. They said, don't worry, we'll sort it out. And then I saw them looking at my mobile phone. I showed them my mobile phone, and I showed them the thing that had come through. And I could see they were wrangling to get it. So I said, look, you can have my mobile phone as evidence, but I want it back. Because I run a trade union from here. It's called Employees Representatives. And they said, that's okay, Mr. Spring, everything will be returned to you as quickly as possible. So, the phone has still not come back, and this has had a very bad effect on me, because you don't like the idea that people can walk into your house, take your possessions, and trawl through them. Now, I just want to say that it seems to me rather dangerous to report crime. I know that's what we should do, but I certainly didn't get any joy out of it. All it's done is cause me a great deal of aggravation and mental stress. And I said to the police, I said, can you get on with this and actually bring someone to justice? And they don't appear to have done anything. So the other point that worries me is that this phone was for my trade union called Employees Representatives. And I don't like the fact that the police have got hold of all my phone contacts. And I just feel it's very appalling, really. Bad story. Maybe the object was to destroy the union. I'll just finish on this point. Years ago, I lived in a country called Zimbabwe after independence. Now, in Zimbabwe, if you fell out with the police, you got shot dead. There wasn't any sort of half measures. There was no real legal framework over it, except there were one or two judges who were trying to do the right thing. But the result was that I don't want what happened in Zimbabwe to happen here.